given your position and that you have 3 jobs essentially, head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, how does that affect your GA who is now in charge of your quarterbacks? What role does he take on now?
Very similar to what my previous 2 quarterback coaches' responsibilities are or were. Bright young guy. You know, will be leaned on to drill the quarterbacks, which he does a great job with, which is the same thing that Shannon and Jake both did. Will be in charge of organizing the scripts as far as what I want to get done in the day. You know, I sit in there with the offensive staff and we talk and talk and talk and talk, and his job's to sit next to me and write stuff down and develop scripts that he can pass out to people. That's kind of an offensive coordinator duty. You know, I say it, he types it. So, and organizes it, and he's incredibly smart and incredibly organized when it comes to that. Game day, he'll be upstairs, you know, just reiterating what he sees, which is the same thing I did for Mike Leach and Hal Mummy for a long time when I was young. So he's got a lot going on, which obviously takes a lot off of me when it comes to offensive coordinator and quarterbacks.
More so than your normal graduate assistant.
Oh, absolutely. His role is the same basically as what Shannon's and Jake's was, and he's filling it wonderfully. He's doing a great job. I couldn't do it without him. There's no way I could wear all 3 hats without him.
They had a 23-year-old. He said that he had offers to go to Troy, to stay there in Kentucky doing the same type of thing. What is it about him that he's so coveted in a role like that already? It's funny. I got asked that about my buddy Lincoln at Oklahoma. It's the same situation. Shitty quarterback turned coach. Can I say that? Shitty quarterback turned coach. So you can say he's 23, but he's going into his 5th year of coaching. So he's a smart guy. You know, he came to West Virginia wanting to be an engineer and came out and started playing quarterback and quickly figured out he needs to be a coach. So then he went to Kentucky as a 18-year-old kid and started coaching. So it's not like this kid just graduated college and is a first-year coach. You know, Mike's he's known he wanted to do this for 4 or 5 years and has been doing it. So obviously ahead of the curve. Lincoln did the same thing and was a coordinator by the time he was 27, 28. You know, it happens. It's happening more and more in college football.
Dana, eligibility update, Javon, Marcel, anything different with them?
That's a simple question. Figured that would have been the first one, right? We're planning on these guys coming in saving the day. Is it that important? Javon will be here today. Haven't heard about Razul. So you guys don't even have much going on. I mean, you know, probably my next time I get with y'all in 3 to 4 days, there'll be lots of information. You know, we're healthy. You know, all 3 sides of the ball has been some good things and some bad things. Playing a lot of snaps. We're playing upwards of about four teams on defense and 3 and 4 teams on offense. So we're out there playing a lot of ball, just evaluating a lot, which means it's going to look good and it's going to look bad. So been some good things, been some bad things.
Is that more than you've had run out there in the past in terms of 4 defensive teams?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially defensively. You know, the O-line, D-line is where you get caught up with that. We can go about 2.5 deep with the O-line that know what they're doing. We still put some guys out there, you know, the 3rd team O-line and the 3rd and 4th team D-line that looks really bad, but they're learning. It's the only way they can learn is get out there and play.
And if you wind up with Cajuste at left tackle, do you have fears about playing a freshman at that spot?
Haven't played very many of them. I've only had 1 true freshman that have played in 17, 18 years. Wolf, when did you start playing?
Redshirt freshman.
redshirt freshman. Tyler Orlowski, redshirt freshman. You know, if you remember with Tyler, he started a couple of games, wore down, and we couldn't start him anymore. Yes, it's a concern, which is why we're doing different things to be able to take some of that load off of him. You know, we're not going to play him on PAT field goal. I don't know if we'll ever score, but if we score, that's a rep that we're going to take off of him. You know, Pankey played as a redshirt freshman, but he didn't play very much. Yadney's way more advanced. First day in pads yesterday, he got exposed a little bit. Which is common. We can bump Pankey out, and we got the same starter we had last year. So that's going to be a viable option that will happen. You know, how much it will happen, I don't know. You know, we got guys that haven't developed yet that need to develop. Marcel Lazard and Sylvester Towns. They haven't developed yet. They need to develop. We got a whole month for that to happen. You know, so which guys take that next step, I don't know. Right now, Yadney's the starter at left tackle, but yes, we are making plans to create depth to be able to leave him with some of his duties.
Dana, I saw you very closely monitoring, you know, the punt returners the first day when it was open. Has anyone stood out early? I know you start practice with it and catching punts.
Yeah, they're averaging about 35 catches a day. You know, there's 5 of them right now I'm focusing on. Vernon Davis, Lamar Parker, KJ Dillon, William Crest, and Gary Jennings. Those would be the 5 all 5 of those guys will catch about 35 a day. You know, and we're going to chart it, and we're going to coach it, and we're going to make it more challenging for them. And then make the best decision we possibly can. You know, the thing that you guys don't see is how much we're working with the frontline guys too. If you got frontline guys that don't do their job and pressure the punter or hold people up, then it doesn't matter who you got back there. So we're working those guys hard too, and that's where having great depth on defense, you know, and you know, multiple receivers that can do different things makes their job back there easier.
Danny, can you talk a bit, working on another story on college scholarships, and there's been so much talk about, you know, kids now maybe getting more money, but when you talk to like recruits and their families, what do you tell them when they ask, what do I get? What do you tell them for? What do they get? You know, I think that's kind of overlooked sometimes. What is a college scholarship actually?
Well, you get room, board, tuition, fees, and books, and then probably a little bit more living expenses. If you start getting particular as far as a dollar amount, then it's a fluid situation that's going to continue to change. What our guys get now, and we're working on it now, is going to be a little bit more than they got last year, and it'll probably be different next year. There's a lot that go into it, and I don't understand it, and no other college coach understands it. So if you start talking about it in recruiting, then you're kind of saying stuff you really don't have much knowledge on. That's all done through the financial aid department. We have absolutely no, and recruits think we do, and our players to a certain extent think we do, that we have some control over it. The financial aid sets it, and we abide by it. It's completely 100% out of our hands. It's different from universities, and I read the same stuff that you guys read. I guarantee you cannot believe what you read. It's different. It's different from school to school, and it's different even from kid to kid within that school. So, you know, the way that Commissioner Bowlesby told us to approach it, which I have and agree with it, is it's going to be different from school to school. Well, the stadium's different from school to school too. You know, the location between yourself and the airport's different from school to school. You know, the size of the campus is different from school to school. So the cost of attendance is going to be too. It's the best way I can put it.
But basically, a kid's not going to really have to, if he gets a scholarship, he's not going to really have to come out of his pocket with that much for his.
You ain't coming out of anything. I mean, you know, there's some day-to-day living expenses that, you know, whatever the kid chooses to do with his time and his money. I mean, you go out to eat at McDonald's, it's going to be cheaper than if you go to a steakhouse right? So there's choices that you make that impacts what the cost is. But if a guy wants to come to school, they're gonna have a place to live for free, whether it's on campus or they're getting money to go off campus. They're gonna get books, they're gonna get their tuition, they're gonna get their fees paid for. You know, so what's coming out of their pocket? It's what they do with their extra time. So.
Danny, your receivers, you have a handful of guys that are kind of known and have been around a little bit, and then newcomers that people seem to speak highly of, but in between, a handful of maybe redshirt freshmen who've been here for a couple of years, and I guess maybe haven't developed or just haven't hit the field yet or that kind of chance, whatever phrase you want. Where do those guys stand as far as where they're at and what your plans are for them?
Can you be specific?
I like Rogers, Parker, Martell.
Not ready. You know, Jackie's doing some good things at running back, getting a little bit better in the slot. You know, it's day 3, you know, so they're gonna, you know, where they're at now as opposed to the end of camp, I don't know.
Coach, how big of a boost is it for your defense, not just from a talent standpoint, but speaking about leadership as well, to have Jared Barber back this year?
Coach Barber? Yep, he knows what he's doing. He's an old man. You know, he got sore halfway through practice yesterday and took the rest of the day off. With those old guys, you got to give them some time to recuperate. So yeah, it's big. I've said this a ton. You can't win a championship without a bunch of guys that have been here for 4 and 5 years that understand how things work and what they got to do to be successful over the long haul. Everybody can get up for game 1 or a specific game throughout the year, but to have guys that understand the importance of doing the same thing every week, game 1 through game 13, then you're not going to win a championship. And having a guy like him gives you a chance, and not, you know, obviously not only him, but there's a whole handful of them that have been here and done that. So.
A guy like Terrell Chestnut, who went through what he did earlier in his career, I was talking to him the other day, and he basically said that, you know, when he was injured, he just tried to be the best teammate that he could be. What did you see from him during those times when things weren't going well? You know, how did he contribute to the team when he couldn't necessarily do it on the field?
He's one of our best leaders we got. He's maybe the best coach on the field for Shelton Gibson, because he goes against him every day and he tells him what he did right and he tells him what he did wrong. I mean, that's just experience that you can't replace. And he's a good guy and he's a great teammate and tries to do the right thing all the time, you know, whether it's on the field, off the field, academics. You know, the injuries do, you know, you can go one way or another with them. And I've seen a lot of guys retire, and I've seen guys like Shaq Petaway who sat there and just moped around for a whole year because he wanted to play so dang bad, and got himself back, and he's out there knocking the heck out of people right now. So I've seen it be positive for guys like Terrell and Shaq, and I've seen it go negative for guys that just can't handle it.
With Shaq, I mean, do you plan to like platoon him and Ed Muldrow because they offered something different at that will spot, or is it Shaq Petaway's spot?
I wouldn't take him off the field. He looks pretty good. It's day 3 and he's got to maintain it. But he's got some pop that I haven't seen in a while.
Coach, what have you observed with Ron Crook? It seems like a lot of these players speak so highly of him as if
He loves peanut butter. I cannot tell you how much he loves peanut butter. He puts it on his waffles. He puts it on his dinner rolls. It's the dangest thing I've ever seen.
So that's the reason.
The big guys get a kick out of it, I guess. What do you want to know?
No, it seems like all the players speak so highly of him. What have you observed with him that he does differently as opposed to other offensive line coaches?
Interacts with other people. You know, I mean, O-line guys are funny. You know, they're usually big like Ron, but usually are just in their own little world and just all they want to do is hover with their guys, and they don't want to do other things. But you know, Ron's the guy that I've noticed that when we go to a stretch, I mean, he walks all the way down to the defensive side and high fives every one of the defensive guys.
You know, so he's that kind of guy. He's a personal guy, very likable. You know, fits in with the staff well. He's a better golfer than you think. You'd think the belly would get in the way, but he bought some new clubs in the off season and was whacking the thing around in our little Ryder Cup thing that we did down at Glade Springs. You know, we had 2 teams, I think of 8, you know, so he was picked like 15 out of 16. Way too low. I think he's warranted with like a top 8 pick now. Yeah. West Virginia guy, loves it here, you know, excited about being here. Parkersburg. What else you want to know? Good.
So who was the number 1 pick?
It's none of your business. It's not me. Probably Lonnie. He'd probably be one. Lonnie'd probably be one. You know, Dorchester and Alex were captains. And I was on Dorchester's team. I don't know if I was pick 2, which would have been 4, or 3, which would have been 5 or 6. Probably I'm in there, probably 3 to 5, somewhere there. But we blistered Alex's team. And Gibby was his first pick, and, you know, Gibby's pretty good. Lonnie, then probably Gibby, then Dorchester. B. Mitch is pretty good. You know, Brian Mitchell's a world-class athlete. Did you know that?
Did not.
I mean, like 10-200 guy. I mean, it was just out of Waco, Texas, was like a state champ, Olympic, almost like Olympic material, and pretty good golfer too. But he doesn't have the stamina over he's a sprinter.
Yeah.
You know, so he's good for like 8 holes and then he kind of flows away. He's probably number 4 though, but he's not in the top 3. But Dorchester just blistered Alex. Alex is still in a bad place. If you see Alex walking around, you should ask him how he did in golf. I was paired up with him 4 days in a row, and it wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. So that was my victory for the summer. Anything else?
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Do you enjoy the Dana who can stand there now and joke and have fun?
Yeah.
Rather than the uptight one?
Well, it's a lot easier to be me when I got guys just not tweeting bad about me and talking about how I need to be fired and stuff like that. So I'm all right. I'm okay. I don't let it get to me too much.